What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to discuss how to get your marketing emails to match your brand so you can get more sales and deliver a better customer experience. Okay, so think about how many times you see this happen. I know I see this all the time. Could just be because obviously I'm in so many people's email accounts all the time, and every time I shop with a company as a consumer, I'm always viewing everything from the lens of a marketer. So maybe I'm paying a little bit more attention to this. But I see this all the time where a company is putting out great social media content. Their site looks really nice. So as you're kind of, you're starting to go through their funnel and making, trying to decide if you actually want to buy from them or not, and everything looks great. And then you sign up to their email list and their emails look absolutely terrible. And a lot of times it just looks like they're just using some default templates from Klaviyo where they've just swapped out a photo, and they're just using like boring CTA buttons from in Klaviyo. And it instantly makes the brand look less credible. I mean, a lot of times it just looks lazy. It just looks sloppy. And it just makes me wonder, okay, if they're dropping the ball here, if they're not putting any kind of effort into this, am I sure that they're actually putting any effort into everything else that goes beyond this, meaning like the quality of their products and the quality of their customer service? But not only that, it really just disrupts the brand and the customer experience that I was having because the content was so great, leading up to this point, and then I get here and then it looks terrible. And a lot of times this is why I always say in the past that if you're going to do design heavy emails and the design sucks, you're better off just not even taking that route at all and just going text only with your emails and having really good copy. And the reason why is because bad design can do more harm in the consumer's mind than okay design can lift you up. Basically, if you go from no design to okay or good design, it's less of an improvement than going from no design to terrible design is doing harm, if that makes sense. So here's what you need if you want to avoid this and you want to make sure your emails actually do match your brand. And for us, the goal is for the emails to be at least as good, if not better, than the other content that the brand is putting out. So first, what you need is a messaging strategy, or whatever you want to call it, just some sort of document that you can share with everyone on your team and all the vendors you're working with who are working on your marketing, to where there's a clear strategy for how you share your brand story, how you present your unique value propositions, and basically how you talk about your brand and products in any of your marketing and sales assets. So you need to have one cohesive strategy so everyone who's doing any kind of for your business as far as creating content and doing any kind of copywriting for anything related to your business, where everyone's working from the same strategy and they're using the same taglines and they're speaking in the same way. That is the first thing. But going beyond that, you also need to have some design guidelines for how your brand should look and feel visually. And so for a lot of times it's like you might have just created the logo yourself, and you might have just had a web designer. There's a lot of great web designers out there who are really good at working with little to nothing. So you might be at least providing them with copy, and you provide them with a logo and maybe some colors, and then you kind of let them take it from there. And so they build you this really nice site, and they've decided on some fonts for you, and they've kind of helped you choose or use your colors in a way that makes your website look great, but they didn't actually give you a full design strategy. And there's nothing that is written in stone that you can then give to any other designers who are working on other marketing and sales assets for you to make sure that they stay aligned with the visual presentation of your website and of your social media. So that's why you want to have design guidelines in place. And that's usually a lot easier than developing the messaging strategy, which requires a lot more insight and a lot more thought into what you're doing. Not to say that there's not a lot of insight that goes into developing a brand identity visually, because there definitely is. But what I'm saying is you don't need to take it that far at this level. You really just need to make sure that you have clear guidelines for the colors, the fonts, the spacing, just general things like that. And then to take this even further, if you really want your emails to look great visually and you don't want them to look like every other email you see in your inbox where people are just using the templates in Klaviyo or whatever ESP they're using, or it just looks like some generic template, then you really want to have a graphic designer who's designing these emails. And ideally, they are designing these emails in a tool like Photoshop or Figma before the emails get built out in Klaviyo. And it's not like I mean, of course, you could just build them in Klaviyo, but what I have found is that the designers that actually they are very good at that skill, they are going to prefer to work in those tools before just building something in Klaviyo. This also gives you something that you can then, however you're, making decisions on who approves which graphic designs are going to actually end up in the final email, you have something that you can show people before going to the hassle of building it out in Klaviyo and then having to make changes and make edits from there. You can just have everything, agreed upon beforehand and then build it out in Klaviyo as the final step. So this is a big hurdle for a lot of businesses because truthfully, finding good graphic designers specifically for email marketing is very difficult, and they tend to be not very cheap compared to getting graphics done for other things. And the cheap email designs that you can find out there just look like it. They look terrible, and they have the typical thing that you're going to see in your inbox from so many brands, and it's not going to accomplish what you want. So it is definitely a challenge, and that's why that's something where if you find someone good, you want to take care of them and hold on to them. Otherwise, work with a team who has good designers, like a team like Elevate and Scale. So the goal here is for your emails to look as good, if not better, than your social media content. So once you can get to where your emails are at that level, then okay, we are doing what we need to be doing, and you really don't have to go above and beyond that, because again, we're not trying to change anyone's lives here. We just want to make sure that these emails match the look and feel of your brand, and that it's not going to create this jarring customer experience where people get one thing up until they sign up for your emails, and now it just feels like they're getting spam, because that's the last thing you want. So again, just to reiterate that point again, that if you don't have the resources to have great design for your emails, you're probably better off going text only and just going all in on having really, really great copy, and you're going to be able to generate a ton of sales. You're going to be able to present your brand in a way that resonates with people, and then you can always go back and you can start redesigning emails in the future.